Welcome to the Inside Out Money Podcast.
Can't even recognize this place. Too many pieces of our past mistakes.
Hi, I'm Maggie, and I believe real change starts from the inside out. So let's work together to improve our money and our lives from the inside out. We will explore all things money and our relationship with it. Join me each week with a rotating set of co-hosts, friends, and interviews. Let's jump in.
It's time, we going round and round and round and round.
Hey, Erica.
Hi, Maggie.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I've missed you.
I've missed you too. Wait, hold on. Hang on. Ciao. What's funny is I had to Google that. I was like, wait a minute. How do you say hello in Italian? And then when I saw the answer, I was like, oh, I knew that.
Yeah. Ciao. Ciao, Maggie.
Ciao. Ciao, Bella. What
Ciao,
does that mean?
Bella.
Isn't that like,
Hello,
hey, beautiful? Hi,
Yeah.
Ciao, Bella. So you just got back from Italy.
I just got back from Italy. I was there for work.
Well, I was going to say, before you say you were there for work, the best part of the Italian trip was you didn't pay for it.
I didn't pay for it. It was amazing.
Speaking of saving or splurging, like, isn't it? I know you didn't travel like a ton in your old job. And I didn't travel a massive amount, but you know, once or twice a year, I'd go out of the country, or maybe once a year tops, on someone else's dime. And it's pretty nice.
It's really nice. It's a game changer when you travel for work because you don't think about the things you get. People want to, I was there for a work offsite, I guess I'll say, with my global colleagues. So only 3 of us from the US traveled and everybody else was from Europe or Asia. And so it was a great opportunity to meet the colleagues and they put on a really nice event for us. And so it's like, I never would have spent this money on myself to stay in the place we stayed, to eat the food we were eating. And it was fantastic.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to do that. You deserve a fun trip. And I'm glad you recently took a new job.
I did.
Which how many months has it been now?
Ooh, like 5, 6, 5.
Okay.
No, 6. We're coming up on 6.
Okay. Which I'm sure we'll talk about as we talk about more career stuff and other topics in future episodes. But I'm excited, A, just for your new job in general, because I think it's a good move for you. And B, that you get to do some cool stuff like travel for it. So that's really cool.
Thanks. Me too. Yeah. And it, another thing that I know we'll talk about, but I give you credit for, and also, learned a lot from Friends on Fire, is learning to negotiate for yourself when you get a new job. So that did help create a little more financial freedom, which is, it all ties in together.
Yeah. So now you can splurge on some things like we're going to talk about in today's episode.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One other quick thing before we jump into the topic, or do you have anything you want to talk about before we jump in to the money talk?
No, this is your show, so I'm following your lead.
Oh, Erica, it's our show.
It's our show. Our show.
Don't belittle. What's the word? Not belittle. Don't. What's the word?
I don't know. Why don't you Google it? It's probably right next to chow in the dictionary.
Don't chow yourself. Don't chow yourself, Bella.
I think we should move on. I think we should move on.
I think you should leave. Have you been watching that show? I think you should leave. It feels like that you would watch
that. Is that a show?
Yeah. Isn't
How do I not know about it? You know I love TV.
Have
I seen this?
Popular show. It's a sketch comedy show with Tim Robinson. It's called I Think You Should Leave.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I watched it it's not the 3rd season just came out. I heard people talking about it.
I
was never a big fan of it. I think I might need to rewatch it in the right space.
Oh, I do like the people in it.
I feel like
I'm still finishing up our show, Succession.
Oh, Succession.
I got the last episode that I'm hanging on to.
The mean old dad in Succession. Do you know who he looks like, right? Think about it for a minute.
Not my dad. Your dad?
My dad.
Oh my gosh.
See it. Can you picture it?
Wait, you told me this before.
They really look alike. Like, I will put a side by side, particularly of like a certain time in my dad's life, when he was older, when they look so similar to me. Like, to me, it's like creepy to watch that show.
Oh, you said
it's
this
like watching
when we were
my dad.
talking about this. Yeah. Or when we were in Durango, we were watching it and you fall asleep like 5 minutes into each episode. And I'm like, I'm going to turn it off. And you're like, what?
We shared a bed on that trip, didn't we?
We shared a room with 2 twin mattresses.
We shared a floor on that trip, I believe. Yeah, we were sleeping on the floor. Well, we were on like mattresses on the floor. So we're not like total
Right.
children, but we were sleeping on the floor. And we were roomies, and we would watch we would watch the session at night. And yes, I would fall asleep about 4 seconds in. I just like it kind of lulls me. That's how I like to fall
Yeah.
asleep. I do the same thing with Greg. We'll start watching the show the next day at the point where he stopped, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then he's like, let me go back 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
You're
this
like,
might see-
billionaires are boring.
Yeah, right. So exhausting watching billionaires.
So, hey, also, side note, so weird that your shows are an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay. The other random thing I was going to say is it has now become an unofficial tradition that I wear some tie-dye shirt during every episode. And I am not joking. I actually forgot we were doing this recording today. And I just realized it like an hour ago. And when I was walking in the room to do this, I looked down and I was like, oh, I've already got tie-dye on. Like I just naturally wear tie-dye about 50% of the time. So my odds are high that I've already got the right shirt on.
Okay. Also, the fact that you have like 25 tie-dye shirts is already more shirts, maybe by double, than the landlord owns.
Oh, that's impressive. But he's like a t-shirt guy, but he's a minimalist t-shirt guy.
Yeah. All his t-shirts come from this nonprofit radio station in Seattle. Shout out to KEXP that we listen to. He always donates and gets a shirt.
Yeah,
or,
they give nice shirts.
They give nice shirts. Or our kids' school Japanese foundation.
Okay, what about
which has
does he have
cool
some,
designs?
Does he not have like some old shirts from the Peace Corps?
I mean, like not really, but
okay.
Yeah.
That's impressive that
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been actually doing some cleaning out this week, and I don't really want to admit the number of t-shirts I own. When we go through Save or Splurge, we'll talk about, I'm a little splurgy in the t-shirt department, and I've gotten better over the years, but I've got just decades of problems I'm still dealing with. Things I can't let go. I was just going through a tub, and I have a shirt from your bachelorette weekend. And then is it the one that says Dewey?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? I was like, couldn't remember.
We'll talk about it offline.
Oh, okay. Oh, I get it.
Dewey Beach.
Dewey Beach. Okay, I thought it meant like Dewey.
No. Oh,
that too.
Well, now
right?
I'm second guessing. But we were at Dewey Beach in Dewey Beach, Delaware.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And
then I had my Bring on the Weddle shirt. I got a lot of shirts from that. I can't get rid of these, like different bachelorette party shirt. We like to make shirts for events.
We like stuff apparently to commemorate our time together. Yes, the experience.
And that is a splurgy category for me. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about intentional spending, and we're going to do a speed round between the two of us of save or splurge. We're going to go through a bunch of categories and talk about what we save on, what we splurge on. Coincidentally, we had a related but not the same discussion last week with Liz from Liz Gets Loaded around, I did, around lifestyle inflation and lifestyle creep. And a lot of these topics are, look, Erica, I think you and I were texting about some other topic. And at some point I was like, all of these, you were like, have you covered this topic on Friends on Fire? And I was like, we covered like 90% of possible financial topics on Friends on Fire. And all these financial topics to me sort of eventually mushed together. And I don't know if it's the best comparison, but I was like, it's kind of like Mexican food or many genres of food. There's like the same 12 ingredients, whether you think someone's like, I'm going to get a burrito, I'm going to get a taco, I'm going to get a quesadilla. It's the same 6 ingredients,
right?
Just switched up a different way in a different shape and with a different name on the front of it. And I often think that way about some financial discussions. We're kind of all talking about like the same principles and types of things, just with different spins and angles on it. But I hope people find this helpful. Okay, so like intentional spending. Should we start with a formal definition? So here's like a Google/Chat GPT type of like formal definition of what intentional spending is. And then Erica, I think you and I should say like what it means to us. But I like to let the World Wide Web define it for us first. So intentional spending refers to the practice of being deliberate and conscious about how you allocate your financial resources. It involves making thoughtful and purposeful decisions about how you spend your money, aligning your spending choices with your values, priorities, and long-term goals. I actually love that definition because it talks about being thoughtful. It talks about aligning it with your long-term goals, which is a big piece to me. And then it goes on to say, rather than spending money impulsively or without much consideration, intentional spending involves taking time to evaluate your needs, wants, and the potential impact of your purchases on your overall well-being and financial situation. I love that well-being. We'll come back to that in a Disney example that I know you have, because your well-being and sanity is important at Disney. And then it focuses on prioritizing what truly matters to you and allocating your resources accordingly. So that's like the formal definition. What does it mean to you, Erica?
So that's interesting because the formal definition, where typically formal definitions, just kind of gloss over and are so objective, it's hard to really like pick things out. But the whole mindfulness of it and spending on things that truly, I mean, it always for me comes back to aligning with my values, like more and more. And also what I try to teach my kids. So I think for me, the intentional spending is like, what am I getting out of how I spend my money? Is it money well spent? As
Yeah.
cliche as that sounds. And kind of goes back into what we talked about the last time we were together, is spending, why we spend the way we spend is like, is this, I guess my definition of is a lot of questions for myself of like, is this how I want to be spending my money? And yeah.
Yeah. And I often think like, do I feel good about this purchase a week later or 2 months later? Or do I feel like, I really didn't need to do that? Because that's when I start to, when I have regrets about how I spend my money is when I often feel like it doesn't align to my values or my goals. And
yes. Yeah, I can relate to that. And it goes to like, is this intentional spending of something I've wanted or something that I'm needing in the moment to satisfy something that I'm not even aware of? And so, a lot of the time I can look at intentional spending of how I put my money into experiences versus things.
Yeah. So on that note, one of my strong held beliefs about spending money in general, but specifically the spirit of intentional spending, is everything we just read, right? But it's the idea of spending money on things that you truly care about and spending less or nothing on the things that you don't truly care about. And the thing that I find interesting when I talk to some people, and I want to try to say this in like a non-judgmental way, because sometimes I believe my strong held beliefs come across so strong that they do sound judgmental. But I've talked to people who will say, oh, well, I care about everything, right? They can't. And to me, that's kind of like a cop out. I'm like, well, you can't, unless you're like a millionaire, perhaps, or not even a millionaire, a multi-billionaire or a multi-millionaire, really, really wealthy. You can't care about everything and still meet your financial goals in life, right? And so I think the idea of being able to take responsibility for the trade-offs, and that's just part of being an adult, right? Is if you can afford everything in the world and not go into debt, maybe that's a better way to say it, then by all means, go for it. If that makes you happy and you're able to do it. But if you have a lot of debt, if you have other financial goals and plans in your life, then you're going to have to make some trade-offs on what you're spending your money on. And when we first read that definition, it said aligning your spending choices with your values, priorities, and long-term goals. And most people have some short-term and long-term goals where money is an element, right? They want to work less. They want to spend more time with their kids. They want to travel. They want to experience more things, like you were just talking about experiences. And to do that, you got to make some trade-offs. And so to me, the way you get feeling good about trade-offs to where it doesn't even feel like a trade-off anymore is to really, like you said, Erica, ask yourself important questions on whether these things truly matter to you and decide what you're going to splurge on and what you're going to save on.
Yeah. And it's easy for us as people to rationalize or get defensive, like, well, it doesn't matter. I just want this right now. And so we make those choices. But to actually go back and quote Andrew from your last podcast with him, and he was quoting someone who, I believe you can tell me that person's name.
Morgan Housel. Let's just say Andrew said it though, because he did say it, but
Andrew said it, and he was quoting a quote. I'm quoting Andrew, who's quoting Morgan, paraphrasing the larger quote, but saying, so wealth is created by suppressing what you could buy today in order to have more stuff or more options in the future. And I think to me, that was the thing that really stood out when Andrew said it, is that, say you have a finite amount of money that you're putting aside and, you blow it all. I mean, it's basically like how we teach our kids to spend. Like, you spend all your money on this like silly thing that you think you want right now, you're not going to have that money for later. And so I've had to shift my mindset, where being a little more financially free than I was 15, 20 years ago, still putting in that, well, I want to feel good about how I spend my money on a vacation, for example. Like when I was in Italy, I walked into a little adorable pottery store and just kind of kept throwing things on the counter to buy as gifts for my family and didn't even think twice about it. So I was like, I saved. I didn't buy anything. I didn't unnecessarily spend money other than this thing where I enjoy spending money on gifts for people that actually does make me happy.
That's a good category because it wasn't in our list of categories, but I will splurge when I'm traveling and either buying gifts for other people or for myself, because I often buy things I need while I'm on vacation, because I remember like we have some bowls that I love that we bought on our trip to Ireland.
Oh yeah.
We have all of our like 50% of our cloth napkins. We don't use real paper towels or napkins. So 50% of our cloth napkins that we own, we bought on a trip to Japan. And then my mom actually helped like cut down the size because they were too large. And
are you talking about those little tiny ass rags you use as paper towels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those. Yeah. Exactly.
No, actually, no. I tease about those, but I had my mother-in-law sew down all of my kids' swaddle blankets. I didn't want to
Oh,
waste
that's
them,
cute.
and so they were napkins, but now we have like proper napkins that she helped us make, and now those
Wait,
are
so
like
your kids used to like spit up on these and now they're your napkins for dinner?
I mean, I've watched them. I've watched them once.
Okay. No judgment, Erica. I'm just kidding. I don't know where these things have been. But yeah, I love buying things on trips. And if I were to categorize the purchases I regret in my life, my regret rate on things I bought while traveling is very low. My regret rate on things I've purchased in the United States on Amazon, very, very high.
Right.
Maybe lower as I got older, but
right. Which actually I thought about like and maybe we could do a challenge. Like, what if we do a no month spend on Amazon?
Where will I get things from, Erica?
That is a question that I asked myself.
Will I have to get in my car and drive somewhere? That's going to be tricky.
But maybe that's a way of thinking. Do I truly need this? Because then if you actually have to get in your car to figure out where to go, you might think twice about whether you needed it.
You want to do it? Are we going to do it in the month of June since we're at June 2nd today?
You want to start it tomorrow?
Yesterday. Well, yes. Have you bought anything yesterday?
Yeah, you want to know what I bought? So I'm going to a concert tomorrow, and I was reading all the things to know before. Yeah, which I didn't know. And I was like, well, I mean, I need one. And so I had to go on Amazon because I don't know where else to find a clear bag. So I went on Amazon, and to get it delivered in time for the concert, I had to add a little more to my cart to get it delivered on time. So I got a 5-pound bag of gummy bears. Obviously a necessity.
Obviously. Good choice. Hey, I got an idea for you.
Yeah.
I don't know how for next time. I don't know how active your like neighborhood Facebook group is, but I just about guarantee you if I had posted that I need to borrow a clear bag for a concert. Now you probably go to enough concerts, you'll use it again, but that someone would have been like, oh, I've got one you can like have or borrow or whatever.
Yeah. I asked my sister-in-law and she was like, no. And I was like, all right, well, that's all I needed to go on. I tried. Yeah.
That was better than nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we would have to start the challenge today. Do you need to buy anything today? Are you good?
No, I got my gummy bears. I'm set.
Okay. Well, you got 5 pounds. You should make it through at least half of June.
We'll see.
For the first week. Okay. June.
Yeah. So starting
Amazon. Can I ask you a fine print question?
Yes.
I need to purchase. I actually have some things in my Amazon cart right now that I need to purchase.
Well, you better purchase them right now.
Let me clarify. They're not for me. They're for like our community neighborhood club, and they'll be reimbursed. Like we need some extension cords.
I think that is acceptable.
Okay, because it's not my money. To be clear.
Right.
So,
yeah, we can call that a carve out. I think that's fine.
Okay. We'll discuss other fine print needs to be discussed via text in writing and accepted with a witness and a notary.
Mm-hmm. But you
Is
can't
that an animal's tail? Okay.
Oh, it's Daryl.
Hey, Daryl. What's going on, dude?
Come here, bud.
All I see is like the corner of his tail, so it looked like you had like a pen with fluffy stuff on the end.
Oh, I should make a pen out of his fur.
Well, that's kind of creepy. But that's the sort of stuff you're going to have to do during June to entertain yourself since you can't shop on Amazon.
Well, we're going to go visit my dad, so I think we'll
that's
be
nice.
okay.
You can ask your dad to buy you things on Amazon and have them there for you. Like when I have my no clothes spending thing this year. I'm not
this whole year.
Well, it's not that I can't spend any money. I can't spend more than what I'm able to sell clothes for. So I've got to be at a net zero spend. And I went on a trip like the second week of January with my mom. I took her on a trip and she knew I was doing that. And she bought me like a new pair of Lululemon tights and a few other nice, like a nice sweater.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, Mom, this is like a loop. I also bought her some nice things. So I was like, this is like a nice loophole. This feels like some sort of accounting fraud. But
it's like a nice quid pro quo y'all got going.
Should we get into the speed round now that we've got somehow we got an Amazon freeze going now for the month of June?
Yeah, that was not anticipated. But yeah, let's do
also, you got to
speed.
tell the landlord. I got to tell Greg about this Amazon freeze.
Oh, maybe
Won't he be happy?
Yes, I'm thinking because he's not going to take me seriously. So maybe let's do this. I'll text Greg. You text the landlord and say, FYI, you tell me if anyone.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean to like check up on us?
Well, and just also he'll take it more seriously coming from you.
Okay, I'll let him know. Yep, serious. And let's place a little friendly wager on this, Erica. If anyone breaks down, the other person has to send the other person a 5-pound bag of gummy bears. Okay,
I thought you were going to say an Amazon gift card.
Oh, well, actually, I think I'd rather have that than 5 pounds of gummy bears, but...
No. These are like world-class.
Yeah, I'm about to have braces in like a week, I'm not excited about
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I can't eat gummy
You're having adult braces and you didn't tell me?
Have we not talked about this? Yeah, I'm getting them for
No.
my jaw issues. I have to get adult braces and I have to wear them for like 2. By the way, adult braces are the same as kid braces. I think it's funny that everyone calls them adult braces. I have to wear them for like 2 years, and they're not like the fun kind of braces where I can like put colors on them. Like they're like a little bit hardcore and more expensive than regular braces.
Are they clear? Are you gonna be able to eat corn on the cob?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'm gonna have to do what I used to do for one of my kids, which is cut the corn off the cob. But I do like corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad times. There's a lot of things I can't eat anymore. Popcorn. I really like Skinny Pop. I eat it like daily.
Can
Can't eat
you
that anymore.
FaceTime me from the orthodontist?
Sure.
No matter where I am, I will answer.
I'll live feed it for the
Please.
for the whole of Instagram. For the like 3 people that are gonna watch it. 4 if we count you. Okay, so we're gonna do a speed round, Erica. And we'll rattle off categories to each other. And then the first thing you have to do is say save or splurge. And then you can give some commentary, but you got to say the word, okay? We got to say it on the count of 3. Well, then you won't be able to hear us. So we'll say it separately. First category, Erica, clothing.
Splurge.
Every answer I have is going to be it depends.
Well, mine was going to be it depends, but I'd rather pay for better clothing that will last longer.
Totally agree. I'm a quality over quantity, which I think it falls maybe in the splurge category. Like I minimally splurge.
Yes. And I will say that for a lot of these categories, I used to save, and then the clothes would fall apart like within the wash within a day.
They don't fit well.
They don't fit well. I don't actually like them. I'm not excited to wear them.
They don't make you feel good. And when things don't fit well, they don't make you feel good. You're like, ooh, this just, I don't feel great.
And then you're like, why did I spend money on this? Why did nobody tell me?
My thing about clothes is sales. Like we were in REI the other day and Greg was showing me this shirt that he kind of liked, but he was like not digging the pockets and kind of where they were placed. Well, first off, there were pockets on the shirt, so that's a sign of something.
Yeah, I'm picturing like there
was one on each chest. Top. And I was like, well, it was like a flannel shirt. It was like winter. Anyways, I was like, it was on sale. It was a nice shirt. He did look cute in it, regardless of the pockets. But I kept telling him, I was like, dude, like get the shirt you love. Don't just buy this one because it's on sale. Because I think you and I probably, and maybe every person in the world has made the mistake of, you walk into a TJ Maxx or you buy stuff on sale, you buy it, you value it differently in your head because you're like, well, it's only $20 and it used to be $80. So I'm getting a deal. I think you and I talked about that in our first episode.
Yeah, we did.
And the clothing's just a big one where I have slowly been like, I would rather have fewer things and pay more for them, but love them and know that they're like curated and they fit me well and they make me feel good.
I'm starting to think that way. And one of the things that I'm realizing is through online shopping, which kind of became my go-to during the pandemic. It was just the way that I would shop for clothes and I didn't know how they fit and I would have to go off of reviews without seeing people's bodies and knowing how different they are. And I don't get the same joy out of getting something out of a pack and be like, well, this doesn't fit. Now I have to return it. But same thing, like when I shop online or even if I go to a store, like I try not to look at what the price tag is of just like, do I like this? Will I wear this? Will I be excited for it? And I'm finally starting to realize like, just go for the thing that you know you want.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I saved a little bit of money. Because then if you keep trying to buy that thing that you think you want, you've just added up all the money that you could have spent just buying the thing you wanted in the first place.
Okay. Next category, shoes. Splurge.
Splurge.
But splurge with a quality over quantity. I don't have nearly as many shoes as the average woman does, or maybe average man, but I'll drop some money on shoes. Like I want comfortable shoes. And I just, I remember when I was younger though, I would buy shoes, especially that I'd wear to work, like anywhere. And they were really uncomfortable often. And now I don't think twice about dropping like $200 on a pair of shoes or $150. And
what are we talking about? Like some running shoes?
I mean, my running shoes and the shoes that I used to wear to work were, in the 150 plus range, and they were high quality and comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is for me. Again, like I used to buy cheap shoes and was hobbling around and would have bloody feet. It was a joke with my friends, except it was quite disgusting. And I always have blister band-aids in my bag for this reason. And so I have to buy better quality shoes. Although my kids have told me that I have way too many shoes. So I don't know what to do with that, but I wear them and
Well, often when my kids will compare something that some standard I've held them to, they'll throw it back at me. Like I'll say something about like Lululemon and like, you shouldn't have this, whatever. And they're like, well, you have it. And I'm like, yes, but I've quit growing. So I'm like, that's my big thing with kids and we can talk about that on kids clothing too. I will save on kids clothing often. I will splurge sometimes for gifts, but yeah, next category, kids clothing, save because
Save.
they don't wear them for that long. They're shoes. So if I can get a good deal on a pair of shoes, like I'm not saying for a special occasion, I won't splurge. And I have done something that I swore that I would never do, which is buy my children Lululemon, but it's always been for gifts. It's been in lieu of other things. And
It's been in Lulu of other
it's been in
things.
lieu of other things. Yes. Well done. Well punned. But sometimes even on like you saying your kids saying how many pairs of shoes you have, I will tell my kids, like they'll reference me buying new running shoes frequently. And I'm like, dude, I run and put miles on them. I go, you guys don't do anything in your shoes. Like you sit on your phone. You don't need new shoes to sit on your phone and like watch.
Yeah.
And they do when they're playing sports. Like I will buy them good shoes when, two of my kids played volleyball. I bought them good volleyball shoes because they need it and they're using them for something of value. But for stuff that they're just going to grow out of or they're going to tear up, like they constantly would get holes in their leggings and the knees and stuff. And on stuff like that, like I'd rather get them stuff from a thrift store or stuff that unfortunately is sometimes fast fashion. And I will mix it in with some higher quality pieces. But that kids clothing is definitely one where when they quit growing, I will give them the same minimalist quality over quantity approach that I have with my own stuff.
Right. No, I agree with you on the saving for kids' clothes for probably the first 5 years of each of my kids' lives. We had friends who had an older boy one and an older girl one like we do, or a younger girl one, and they would give us their hand-me-downs. And because
That's
kids
so nice.
go through their clothes so quickly, it was like new clothes every time where we just never bought clothes. And now that we have to buy clothes, I can't spend more than like a minimal amount of money knowing how hard they plan it. And I'd rather them play hard and not worry about good quality things getting messed up. My kids are younger than yours. So like they wear their shoes to where they literally have holes in them. Like, can we get new shoes? I'm like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about that.
Yeah. But I like to see some holes in them first. Like that's a good sign.
Right.
Now it's time for some new shoes. Okay. Shall we do...
All right, Maggie, here's one for you. Books.
Okay. Books is a category where in my 20s, every time I wanted a book, I would just buy it on Amazon and it'd be here in 2 days. And then it'd often sit on my shelf for like 6 months. But anytime anyone mentioned a good book, I do this a ton of fiction and a ton of nonfiction books. And about maybe 5 to 7 years ago, I realized there's this thing called the public library. And I shifted from a splurge to a save. My thing with saving versus splurging is when there is an opportunity to save without me heavily limiting my experience or the quality of my experience, I'm willing to go through like, a little bit of additional work to save. And the additional work with using the public library, so I use Libby and you can also use the app Hoopla and they're awesome. And you hook it up through your online public library card and you can physically go into the library or you can use these apps and you can get audiobooks. So it's just like Audible or ebooks. And like, so you can read it on your Kindle or you can read it through their own app. And popular books, there's sometimes a wait list because the library has X amount of copies and they have to, for digital rights reasons, they have to loan them out. And so sometimes I have to wait, sometimes 6 months to read a really popular book if I got on the waiting list late. And I'm okay with that. Like I'm constantly they let you have a lot of books on hold at once. So I haven't bought any books on Amazon in years. Every now and then when somebody I know is coming out with a book, like I know the author, I might support them and physically buy the book. But 99% of the time I get my books at the public library and it makes me feel great. I'm very happy with it. I make my kids do the same thing and I love it. What's your book's approach?
So I'm the same. I'm a big fan of the Libby app. Libby also, well, the library, but also Libby has magazines, which is great because I really enjoy reading just like articles. You get a lot of stuff that you would end up spending money on and you're like, okay, I'm done with this magazine and now what? But yeah, I prefer getting it. It's just easier than having books lying around because I look at all the books I've read and they're just reminders of like, oh, you spent money on me and you haven't even opened me. However, a friend loaned me a book the other day and it is really nice to read a physical book. So sometimes I don't go to Amazon, nor will I this month, listener, but I will go to this local bookstore in Powell's called Powell's in Portland.
I love Powell's.
Yeah, so I'll go to Powell's and you can sell your used books there. So I'll go and find a used copy of something I really want to read.
But can I remind you, the library also has physical books.
This is true.
I'm reading one right now, and I agree. Sometimes I like holding a physical book, and I frequently will get physical books at the library.
I think sometimes, like, if I'm traveling and I want a specific book, or I know I'm going to keep it, I will go buy the actual book. But I agree. I support the library. Like, even when my parents were moving in Atlanta, my mom didn't want to leave the county because she loved the library system.
We had a nice library here. I would imagine Portland has really good libraries too.
They're good. Yeah, they're really good.
Let's do restaurants, and let's start with restaurants, and then we'll move to groceries.
Okay, so restaurants is a mix. The landlord loves eating. He's a foodie, as annoying as that term has gotten. He will splurge on food. And so it has gotten me into the mindset of like, all right, you spend a little more, you get better quality. And sometimes it's about the experience too, of having just this really nice dining experience that goes with the food. So sometimes we will splurge on that, especially while traveling. However, while we're here, there are a lot of great cheap eats. And actually we do Friday night dinner night out with our family, with our kids, where we're trying to like get them into eating in restaurants like normal human beings and acting like,
Civilized
appropriately.
adults.
Yeah, it was civilized, like tiny children they kind of missed out on those years during the pandemic. So we each pick a different restaurant each Friday. And this Friday is the landlord's pick. And he was like, honestly, nothing sounds good. I'd rather not spend the money.
Wait, do the kids get to pick in that rotation?
Yes, but it can't be somewhere we've been before.
Oh, okay. That's
So it could be the same cuisine. So they
it could be
pick
pizza, but they got to find a new pizza place.
Exactly.
Do they always pick the same thing?
No, but they do like sushi. So it has been fun trying different sushi restaurants.
You know what this category, well, all these categories have made me realize, Erica, my saving or splurging doesn't really split well by category. It sort of splits well by just timing and phasing of circumstance, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I have moments of saving and splurging in all of these categories. So there's times like we like to eat out too, but we really don't appreciate usually like nice, super expensive restaurants. But sometimes there'll be like a really nice vegan restaurant that is a more of a fine dining experience. And yeah, we'll go out and support a nice vegan restaurant and, spend $100 on a meal. That's an expensive meal for us. But most of the time we eat out at places that we're really excited to eat out at. And it's like, well, it used to be a $20 meal. Lately with inflation, it's like a $30+ meal. But I wouldn't say we splurge a lot on restaurants. We tend to be a little bit less expensive in this category. Now, when we're traveling, we definitely will splurge more on eating out and not really think about it or question it.
I think that's the interesting thing about the splurging is the not thinking about it. Because when I was younger and didn't have as much disposable income to spare, like having like a $5 meal versus a $10 meal, or, just every dollar counted. And so I think what's nice is being able to go out and say, I want to eat this, or I want to drink this, and not looking at the price tag next to it. And that's where some of the freedom comes in. And that's where it ties in with the experience of the dining experience.
I totally agree. So let's do a related one, which is grocery shopping. I'll start first on this one and say, I tend to save on grocery shopping because I'm obsessed with Aldi, and you can get really good quality, vegan, organic, often groceries at Aldi. And then we do a lot of shopping at Sam's Club. And so we buy a lot of our fruit and vegetables like in bulk there. And I think the quality is solid and the pricing is significantly better than when we buy things in smaller quantities. And so I'd say grocery shopping is one where in my earlier days, I would just pop into a Whole Foods and not think twice of it. I will not. I mean, I only go to Whole Foods rarely. We were traveling. Where were we recently? We were in Portland. I don't think you were with us, but we saw you. No,
why were you in Portland, but I wasn't there?
We were in Seattle and you came to visit us.
Oh, yes.
And I went to Whole Foods with Merritt and I was like, my God, we got like some snacks and it was like $120. And I just reminded me, like, I don't do that. I mean, I'll do that when I'm traveling and when there isn't. But if there was an Aldi next door, I would have popped into the Aldi and got all that for half as much.
Yeah, with groceries, I will splurge on something where I know it's going, again, it comes back to quality over quantity. Like, okay, I know these apples are going to taste better and it's $1 more a pound, but I want to eat better quality apples that maybe are organic. But we also get coupons. We like do all the coupon clipping on this app that we use for our grocery store. And so
what's it called? Flip?
No, it's the Fred Meyer app through Kroger. Myer.
Oh, it's part of. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so they have an app where you clip all these coupons, and the landlord came home the other day and was like, it was buy one, get one free ice cream. So he bought 6, obviously. And
I
he
like
came
it.
home and he was like, I saved $132. And I said, but now we have 6 containers of ice cream.
I like it. Hey, do you know the song Fred Meyer?
No.
It's a really good song. It's by Glenn Phillips.
Oh, no, you're going to need to send this to me.
Glenn Phillips. I think
Is it
he's
like
driving
something like
me
Fred Meyer, Take Me Higher and Higher?
No, hold on. He's the singer and songwriter from Toad the Wet Sprocket, which
Oh,
I know you remember that. He
yeah.
wrote a song on his own, like not as part of Toad, called Fred Meyer. And here, I'll play you a little bit of it. I know you like to rock out live on the air.
Yeah.
It's really catchy.
Just down in the 90s, all the other locals, we smash the beans of the hoop. You're getting off the track, sorry, it's like sitting right in there. It's Frederick Myers, so everything.
Frederick Myers.
Sold everything from fruit to tires.
Stand, go back your name, swim. See you're here to see me. Don't forget to tip him. Watch the other. Each man must be a brother. Band up and take cover. Go dancing, set fire, tag buildings, set tire, drive go karts, like Shredder. Just hang out and mind you.
It's a really catchy song. I always liked it.
I can't believe I never knew that song existed.
Michael was a big fan of that song.
Okay.
And he had some obscure music.
Well, I'll take you to Fred Meyer next time you visit Portland. We'll add that to the attractions list. Oh yeah, we went and got donuts there when y'all came.
Oh, eaten a lot of donuts with you over the years.
Yeah.
Okay, donuts is a splurge category for sure.
Yes.
Okay,
and
let's
always. Okay, so one thing that is an interesting one that I think can go both splurge and save is a travel category. So for example, the landlord and I are taking the girl one and the boy one to Disney World this year. This is a big splurge for us.
Is this the first Disney trip?
This is the first Disney trip. This is huge. We were like mentally preparing ourselves for years, hadn't even told our kids about it because we didn't want them to start hounding us about it. Then we realized they didn't even know what it was when we told them. We thought it was going to be this big reveal. And the girl was like, what's that? And we're like, oh, well, we really botched this. Yeah.
At that point, you should have been like, trips canceled. Never mind.
Yeah, we're like, we'll just we'll watch a movie instead. So in talking to multiple people who have been, a lot of our friends recently, the number one piece of advice for that is you cannot penny pinch there. Like you can,
but you might be miserable and it's hard.
Well,
it's hard to penny pinch on the basics, but you can like kind of pack / sneak in snacks. But when you're there, it's magical. Like I can be very thrifty, but when I was there, I was like, fuck it, just buy whatever you guys want. Like let's get a Mickey Mouse popsicle. Let's get a popcorn with glitter all over it.
And that's exactly what I think. Like I don't even want to think about, like, I'm someone who's always like telling my kids no. Like I took my kids to the zoo this weekend with each of their friends and every kid was like, can we get this? Can we get this? I'm like, before the words are out of their mouths, I'm like, no. Like I brought snacks to the zoo. Like we don't want anything. I did buy them some like fruit ice cream because it was the healthiest of all the options. And they thought I was just like the most amazing.
Awesome.
But with Disney, I think we'd be making ourselves pretty miserable if we really tried to cut back on all the things that we know are inevitable. And so there are ways, like I know that we're staying on one of the Disney properties. We informed about how it's better for getting in and out of the park. And I'm bringing a cooler full of food so that when we're back at the hotel, we have our own food there. But while we're out and doing things,
nice.
Oh, I'm preparing.
Because resort food's expensive. Hotel food is expensive. That's where they make their money. The margin
and it's not good. Yeah. So you're spending like $30 on a hamburger that's like probably disgusting.
That
not
your
real
kids
meat.
take a bite of and are like, I don't like this. And then you're like, dang, you're eating this. I just spent $30 on this.
Yeah. You're eating it now. You're eating it in 4 days after it's been sitting in the car.
Okay. So yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of travel where I too will splurge, and Disney is a good example. And again, I mean, travel's like a save and splurge. Like I'll mix it up, and there's things where I think you're the one who said this. Like if you're not going to be there, if you're not going to spend a lot of time in your hotel room, you don't need to spend a lot on it, right? If you're going to be out doing something.
Yeah. We've traveled with friends where we're like, oh, let's get an Airbnb somewhere. And the options are something that's very nice. I'm like, look, how much time are we actually spending here? Because if we're going to be out doing things, then let's just get an okay place where we just need to put our heads down at night. If we plan on hanging out at this place, like if it has a pool and a great kitchen and we're going to be there, like, yeah, let's spend more and really be at the place because that's part of the experience. But even with traveling, like in hotels, like you're just at the hotel, like the Disney hotel, it's like we're just there as like a place to put our luggage and our bodies when we're tired. Like no need to spend anything more because we're going to be spending it all on glitter popcorn and Mickey popsicles, like you said.
Yeah. Well, and I like to, like I was saying, oscillate between saving and splurging. So when we're doing a longer trip, we did a 6-week trip last summer, but just a normal 2-week trip that we're doing this summer. There might be something where we sort of all cram into one hotel room for a night or two, and then we have a place with a lot more room for the next few nights. And we'll kind of go back and forth to where like we're not splurging on every place we sleep at every night, but we're mixing it up.
Yeah. So to your point about divvying up the splurging and the saving. So for Disney, we know that's going to be a splurge. It's such a splurge that we're also taking the kids to Costa Rica later in the summer. And I think that will be our housing. And like that trip will be about the same as 3 nights at Disney.
That's crazy. Yeah.
For 10 days.
Disney is really expensive.
It's a racket, but it's an experience. And I guess we have to do it. And we're excited to do it. And we're mentally preparing for it.
I love your, I guess we have to do it. The thing that you could remind yourself too is you'll probably only do it once or twice. You know, I think you guys are similar to us. Like some people will go to Disney every year because that's their thing. They love Disney. Like I didn't take any of my kids. The first time I ever took any of my kids to Disney was on my daughter's 10th birthday. We went to Universal Studios on the West Coast because that was her 10-year-old birthday trip. She chose LA. That was the first time I'd been to Disney. Now, the nice thing about being divorced is all of my kids had been to Disney with their other parents. So I was like, that's one of those things where you're like, why don't you guys take them to Disney? Because Disney's not really my scene anyways. I mean, I will say I really kind of poo-pooed it for a long time. And then when I got there, I mean, first it was Universal, then we went to Disney in Paris. I was like, it is a magical place. And I saw how happy my kids were. And they do a really great job putting on an awesome experience where it's just great. So I can see why people are in love with it, even though it's not my first choice for a vacation. But yeah.
No, I mean, that's why we've waited as long as we have. And my dad still tells me like, oh, I'll never forget your face the first time we brought you in and you saw Snow White. Of course, like, I think I was like 4 or 5 and my parents were like, what was your favorite ride? And I was like, oh, the monorail, so I think I was like too young to really get the full experience, but I think our kids are at that age, which is part of why we waited. And also, the pandemic kind of dampened any sort of massive travel like that. But I am excited for them to do that. But it is sort of like okay, wow, this is a really significant amount of money for a very short amount of time. But it is the experience of what we're getting to have with our kids. We'll never forget their faces. We're going to pay for the conveniences of just saying yes to whatever food or things they want. Like we know that like when we're in town, they always ask for like, can I get this or this stuffy? When we're in Disney, we're gonna be like, yeah, you can get some things because this will be a memory.
Yeah, I agree. And a last travel example, Erica, is one way that I like to save sometimes when I'm traveling, aside from points and miles and stuff like that, is we did this when we were in Amsterdam. And then we're also doing this when we're in Edinburgh this summer. Hotels in the city can be really expensive and sometimes booked up also. And there's sometimes hotels that are a decent amount out of the city, but like a 10-minute train ride. And the station's like right next to the hotel on both ends of kind of where you're going. And we did it in Amsterdam where it actually was a ferry ride. And the kids love the ferry ride. We just stayed on the other side of the river in Amsterdam. It was significantly cheaper. We had a nice little walk every day. We got a nice little ferry ride. And for the most part, we're going out every day for 7 or 8 hours. And then we're coming back to our hotel room and crashing and not leaving the room. We've got kids with us, so it's not like we're going back out at night. And so it's perfect because we're paying, half as much for a hotel. And I don't do that everywhere. There's times when I love staying in the city center, but with a bunch of kids, there's times that it's just as easy to stay outside of the city center and hop, especially in Europe, it's so easy to hop on a train and get to the city center very quickly. That's an example of an area where I will save a little bit of money sometimes when traveling.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So one area when I travel with my family is I will pay for the convenience of having a direct flight if possible. I used to just find whatever was cheaper, whatever got me there the fastest. And if I'm traveling on my own, I don't mind taking a red eye. But with kids, there's already a lot of stress with travel in general, and you're going to pay a lot. And you know, the way the travel industry is going now anyway, you're almost setting yourself up for a misconnection or some sort of delay. And so for traveling with children, I want to just get us there in the easiest way possible for everybody, no breakdowns. So it kind of goes for like paying for quality over quantity, but you're paying for the convenience of things. And this is a thing that kind of aligns with being the luxury of having financial freedom. But it is something where I will save for these things to splurge on a direct flight or splurge on glitter popcorn.
Exactly. It's all about the glitter popcorn. Oh my God, the thought of eating glitter sounds disgusting all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that was not a real thing, but I'm gonna send you pictures of all the food we eat at Disney.
It's not, but I can't wait to see the pictures, and you got to put a price tag on it.
Oh yes,
it just felt like glitter popcorn's the sort of thing Disney might sell.
Right, I know.
Speaking of glitter popcorn, there's no segue to this. Toiletries. You once on your first episode, which was also your last episode, you talked about Major League DVD and some face wash. Like, what's your feelings on toiletries? For travel or for like day to day? Day to day. What do we got? Day to day. You got like different travel toiletries?
Well, they're my day to day into mini size.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do day to day.
Okay. Day to day. I'm a mix of that. I think you can find cheaper options of things like facial products. My face wash is still pretty cheap. I don't need some.
You'll go store brand.
Yeah, I'll do store brand. I do store brand for a lot of stuff, but I might find like a better quality of the store brand. It's kind of like eating stuff, you know, like try healthy eating. It's like eat the things you like, just find the healthier version of it.
Yeah. Well, like Target, Walgreens, they all have a store brand of Neutrogena, CeraVe, Cetaphil. They all have a store brand of a higher end brand, and they've said, I mean, I feel bad for the initial brand that pioneered this product, but that's capitalism at work. It's the same ingredients and it's good quality. And often all those store brands are actually made, many of them are actually made at the same facility as the name brand.
That's interesting.
That's the case with food. I don't know about if that's definitely the case with toiletries, but I know for a fact that's the case with many food products, but many store brand food products, that is. But yeah, I'm similar in that like I'm mixed. So I'll also go store brand for, how come you don't see more store brand for shampoos? I see it for face soaps and for many things, but when do you see
they're so specialized?
But when, I just thought of this. How come I don't see like a store brand version of a shampoo at Target? I just have like Suave or something that's less expensive.
I think they have like, I don't know. I don't know why Pert Plus was the first example that came to my mind.
That was my shampoo growing up of choice. That was a splurge too.
Oof.
Like if my parents would get me Pert Plus with like built-in conditioner.
Oh yeah. Built-in conditioner is where it's at.
Yeah. I think I can like smell it right now. Like just you talking about it in the air. So it's funny
too
bad,
too bad I would go straight to Amazon to buy some Pert Plus right now, but I'm not gonna do it.
You're not gonna. You now, to be clear, we didn't say you couldn't go to Target or anywhere else. We just said you can't go to Amazon.
But this could be good because Target doesn't have everything. They don't have the clear concert bags that I'm aware of, or maybe not 5-pound bag.
And they won't get you, though they do have short shipping on some things. Many things you can't get as quickly. Anyways,
which is maybe for the best.
Erica, when I read some of our notes that we wrote on these things, which people are probably like, what, you guys have notes? Doesn't seem like it, but we do. When I read some of our notes, I actually read it and I'm like, did I write that or did Erica write that? Because I think we're so like, I'm like, did you write the thing about Puff Plus? I also will splurge on some tissues because I hate when you really have a bad I don't use tissues most of the year, but when I have a bad cold, I do not, like, your nose gets all sore.
Oh yeah,
it's just not nice.
Oh, you gotta treat your nostrils well, and so I will splurge on some Puffs Plus lotion.
Yeah.
Because I will get like my nostrils are kind of like my feet. They could get like real chapped sometimes.
I was like,
kind of
tell
bloody.
me how your nostrils are like your feet. Tell me about
because they get a little bloody sometimes.
Okay, just to be clear, you've said the word bloody way too many times in this episode.
But they're only related to my feet and nostrils.
Okay. Noted. Also, toilet paper is a category where back in the day I used to save, and then I realized life is too short for crappy, pun intended, toilet paper. And like, just like your nostrils deserve the good stuff. Like my bum deserves the good stuff. So for a long time, I bought Cottonelle, and that stuff's expensive, and it's been getting more expensive.
And it is
lately.
not very good for your septic system.
That is, well, we don't have septic systems here, but you do in Portland. It's probably not good for the sewer system anyways. But I recently, in the past year, discovered, there's just certain things I like don't think about day to day. But Sam's Club has a Member Mark premium toilet tissue. They also have their like cheaper stuff that's the like it's like single ply. It's just not good.
Single ply. Get out of here.
We're too old for this shit.
Literally.
Again, pun intended. And so they make this like premium Member Mark. It is like less than half the price of Cottonelle. And I miss the little ridges and the like beautiful shape. Like I appreciated the sort of texture just on my hands, really. Like it just felt nice on the Cottonelle. But I'll tell you what, my bum doesn't notice the difference. My bum's not like, oh, there were ridges on that one and this one has a floral design. Like nobody knows the difference. And it is still a premium feel. So to me, there's often like a middle ground.
I think you're going to have to cut 5 minutes worth of talking about your bum and the ridges on the toilet paper.
Okay,
well, I know what you mean on the
cut it.
Yeah,
Tell me
I know
about your bum.
No, I know what you mean about the middle ground. And I'll give you an example. When we visit my dad in Florida, he gets the one ply because he said it's better for his toilets, and it's rough, like on all levels. And so my sister and brother-in-law came down and they brought their own toilet paper.
I would BYO, yeah.
Yeah, they were BYO. And so my brother-in-law, as he's leaving, goes from my bum to yours and hands me a roll of toilet paper.
I like it. I like it. That's like the handoff of like while you're staying with your dad. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. He never goes in the bathroom, so he doesn't see it. But I'm like, yeah, I should make a Target run when we get down there.
I like how you got to like sneak toilet paper into your dad's house.
Yeah. It used to be like, beer or something. And now it's toilet paper.
Yeah. Well, it's really fun getting older. Okay. Let's hit a couple more categories and then wrap this up.
Yeah. This isn't really a speed round, is it? It's like,
no, we're not very good.
Say it quickly and then let's expound on it for about 20 minutes.
I was laughing earlier because when I first said, let's both say save or splurge, like we're both like, I don't know. It depends. We haven't once said save or splurge, and we have been expounding on it for a while. Okay. Home decor furniture. Where are you at?
I am on splurge.
No, you only get one word.
Oh, geez. One word.
Go ahead.
Splave.
Ooh, I like to splave in this category too.
I like to splurge on something that you'll have for a long time, like a good comfy couch, and then save on accent things that you might replace, like throw pillows, different things that you can mix and match. And, you don't need to spend, I don't need $100 throw pillow. I don't know how much throw pillows cost, but
they can be expensive. So
they can be expensive. Yeah.
And you can actually buy really nice covers on Etsy with like every print you could ever imagine that are usually from some local person who, buys the fabric and makes them themselves. Anyways, I agree with you in this category. I'm also in the splave category of exactly what you just said. And I'm also in the less is more. So I don't, I've had the same throw pillows for 5 to 10 years. And maybe every 5 to 10 years, we decide to switch it up because they've just gotten too stainy or something.
I think for things like in the bedroom, like your sheets, that is definitely a splurge because you spend half your time in bed. So you need comfy sheets, a good bed, quality pillows. That I'm learning to splurge on. That was another one from my past where, let me just get the cheapest sheets. And like, are these burlap? I didn't even know sheets came in burlap.
Liz and I were just talking about this in last week's episode because sheets are a category when we were younger that we spent less on. But now that we're grown-ups and in our late 30s/40s, we can appreciate high quality sheets, and thread count is a real thing. And yes, sleeping on like burlap sheets is not nice. And it's so nice to get into bed at night on like really good quality. I'm really big into like white sheets and like a hotel vibe too. Okay, Erica, we could go through these categories forever. I want to make 2 final points that I was thinking about as we were talking about this. One, and I say 2, but it's going to turn into 12. So one of my favorite things is when I discover something that is saving and splurging in my book. And I give you one of my best examples is Gooder sunglasses. They came out with, back when, there was a time when I used to spend over $100 on a pair of sunglasses because that's what I thought I had to do. And that's what people did for good sunglasses. And they needed to be polarized and whatever else. And then Gooders, and I know they were following many other companies that did this, came out with $25 polarized sunglasses in really cool prints with fun names. And they're literally $25 and they're often on sale for $20. And I love them. And Aldi, I would put Aldi in the same category. Like, I feel like I'm splurging, but I'm saving. I'm getting what I feel like is a very good quality product. And so I just want to make the point of, I love when I can find something where I feel like I'm doing both things. And that's the sweet spot of splaving. Like
Yeah.
Splurve, yeah.
Splurving or splaving?
Splurving and splaving.
Slurving or spaving?
Slurving. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on the gooders. You got me on the gooders train. And for someone with an abnormally small head for an adult human, they fit my face very well. I have a hard time with that with sunglasses. And so, yeah, I actually just bought a pair recently because my expensive Ray-Bans just don't fit my face very well. And the gooders do.
I just bought a new pair this week that just arrived 2 days ago. It's the new it's Like It Like That. They're lilac.
I saw those. They're those.
Nice. They're a new color.
They match your shirt.
I'm a sucker I like purple. It's one of my favorite colors. And I am embarrassed to admit how many pairs of gooders I own. On our last trip, I brought gooders for everybody.
Yeah.
Because I love good. I'm a big fan of gooders.
I'm wearing those to Disney.
Oh, nice. And then my last point, which probably won't be my last point, let's be real, is things that I consider commodities I will always save on. So cell phone plans, utilities, even a rental car. There's some fine print on rental cars because sometimes it can be a terrible experience with the budget brands. Insurance, just things where I know I'm going to get a product I need and I'm looking for the best rate. I'm always going to go for saving. And I often think commodities are just things that almost all commodities I'd put into that category.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because you might be the only person who is knowing that you're not spending a certain amount on this thing or that thing. And so I think where I've learned to try to take stress off of myself by kind of spending a little more on things to get what I need out of the experience or making things easier. Sometimes that's just not practical or it's not necessary. And some of the things you're talking about with commodities, that is where you can save to splurge. Like you don't need the most expensive cell phone plan. You don't need cable TV. A lot of people still have, but the landlord made us cut the cord years ago, which I almost just really lost it over. But it kind of adds up because we have all the streaming services, but we're not paying. Like when I hear what people are paying for cable, I'm like, why? Like you really, you kind of simplify your life by taking that out, except for the people whose cable login I'm stealing. If you are listening, you know who you are, and I still need your cable login.
Don't change your password.
Don't change your password or cut the cord.
Thanks, Mom. My mom recently changed her. They're like,
how dare she?
Condo. It wasn't even her. It was like their condo place changed it, and she no longer has cable. And so you know who no longer has a cable login? This girl. But I've been doing okay. I'm gonna make it, guys. Don't worry. I'll be okay. Okay.
I'm here for you.
Thanks, Erica. Okay, we could go through these categories forever. Let's shift to making this actionable for you guys. If we lost anyone in hearing about where we splurge and shave,
splave and splurge. These aren't words.
We're swerving. If we lost anybody there, let's bring this back, make it actionable. And to me, this all circles back to intentional spending, right? So our decisions, our individual decisions, which we're sharing here with you today on where we save and where we splurge, is all about intentional spending. And it's different for everyone, right? So to me, the first question is like, what matters to you? And it's different on different days and at different times in my life, right? So that to me is something that I maybe would not have articulated at the beginning of this discussion, but I would articulate now, which is just there are days when you use the Disney example, Erica. That's a planned experience you have coming up where you're anticipating you're going to need to splurge for everyone to be happy, but you're also doing some things to save, like bringing a cooler of food with you. And I just think it's all about those particular moments and the trade-offs you're willing to make and deciding what matters to you and how much you value your future freedom and your future ability to splurge. And so sometimes you're going to need to save so that you can splurge in the future. And that was like the quote you shared earlier, which I'll repeat, which was, so wealth is created by suppressing what you could buy today in order to have more stuff or more options in the future. And I think that is just a perfect quote.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to your formal definition of intentional spending, of being deliberate with your choices and being conscious about it. And it goes into mindfulness of how your spending aligns with your values. And, you know, I can't imagine that people's values are in paying an arm and a leg for basic commodities like we've talked about, but it is more in the experiences that we're having with our families, or when we do things where these are the things we're always going to remember. Like, this is my takeaway. My takeaway wasn't like, oh, my cell phone bill was this. My takeaway was, oh my gosh, my kids' faces when I brought them into Disney and gave them all the glitter popcorn they could eat. Those are the things where it's worth it to roll back the spending on certain things, or try to like budget in other areas, to be present in how I'm spending and not thinking and feeling guilty about spending when it's really necessary and important to have these lifelong memories.
I totally agree, Erica. And the last actionable thing I would encourage people to do is track your expenses, because I think it's hard to be intentional when you just don't even quite realize where your money's going. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something where you track your expenses for the rest of your life, but I do think tracking your expenses is a incredibly enlightening exercise to help you see where your spending is going, and to ensure and double check that it does align with your intentions. Because what I think is disappointing is when people say, understand the concept of intentional spending, but then it's just sort of, you know, slowly, your money's kind of slowly leaking through the cracks when you look at it and say, wow, I spent a lot of money on Amazon last month, or I spent a lot of money eating out, or it's like a cliche example, but going to Starbucks or something. And did I enjoy it? And is it aligned with what I want to spend my money on? And the answer might be yes, in which case, fine. But for many people, they'll notice certain things where they say, oh, actually, I had no idea I was spending that much money, and I don't even remember what I bought on Amazon last month.
And that's me. And I think that's why the landlord will be thrilled to hear that we have our No Amazon challenge. And
I can't wait to text him after this. Have the 5 pounds of gummy bears arrived yet?
Oh yeah, they've already been opened. I only ate like 10.
What will he say? Like, does he get excited when he's like, oh, you ordered a 5-pound bag of gummy bears?
Oh, I'm just going to say it was an impulse buy. It was by the register.
The Amazon register. I like it.
I needed to get free overnight shipping, obviously.
Right. And the gummy bears cost more than the free overnight shipping, right?
Yeah, I think they cost more than the 2 plastic concert bags that I have.
What concert are you going to?
The National.
Ah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I don't know who the National is. I'm sure I do. What do they sing?
Stuff that's like, I don't know. It's no Fred Meyer song, but
okay.
Yeah, there might be some. No Taylor. No, it might be some stuff you've heard. They've been around for a while, but more chill rock.
I'm bad with names. Usually, like, I'll hear a song and I'm like, oh, I know them. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up, Erica.
Okay, I would like to say one thing. On your last episode with Greg, you said you guys were saying you love each other, and you're like, I wouldn't say this to other hosts, but I'll say it to you.
I'll say it to you, Erica.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll just preempt you there of like, I didn't mean you, just so you know.
Okay, I was like, I have old friend override over Greg, and I know that you have a different relationship because you are wedded to each other, but we are wedded in a different way.
I mean, you and I have shared many of beds over the years, so
we are bedded to each other and wedded to each other through succession, through sleeping on floors.
Yes, we have matching tattoos. Greg and I do not have matching tattoos.
Yeah.
I have known you longer than Greg, probably at least twice as long as I've known Greg. Yeah.
I'm not trying to compete with Greg.
I mean, it doesn't feel like you're trying to compete, but I just want to go on the record and say I love you too, Erica.
I love you too, Maggie. That's all I wanted to hear.
Okay. I understand.
Now I'm done being your co-host. This was all a ruse.
A long con to get me to say I love you in public?
Yes.
Well, I love you, and I really appreciate you doing this podcast with me.
Oh, I'm so happy that we get to do this together.
Yeah, me too. I know I'm standing between you and happy hour with your husband right now, so we'll wrap this up, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. We know your time is limited and valuable, and we appreciate you spending some of it with Erica and I this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, whenever you happen to be listening to this podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please give us a written review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We really appreciate it.
We also encourage you to share this episode with a friend or or a family member to encourage ongoing discussions about money. You can also subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you have thoughts or questions, we'd love to hear from you. And you can leave a voicemail or text Maggie at 404-981-3370 or hit us up on Instagram.
And you say text Maggie, but when I do get text about any of you guys, I pass them along to you. So you can also text Erica at that number, unless you want to put your personal cell on here, Erica.
No chance.
Okay. Well, another great episode, and it's good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie.
Okay, inside out.
Inside
out.
Inside
out. We're still working on our outro. You call it outro?
Outro.
I made that word up. I think that's a real word.
Inside outro.
Oh, inside outro.
Ciao. Actually, here we go.
Oh.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella.
I'm liking none of these, actually. I'm liking none of these. Ciao. That
ciao,
works.
Bella? Okay. Ciao.
No. Not inside outro. We'll work on it.
Okay. We're still, work in progress here. We're gonna splave our way to a better outro soon. Okay.
It just gets worse.
I know it's just going downhill. Okay. Bye, Erica.
Bye, Maggie.
What would be awesome if I realized I forgot to record that entire conversation, but don't worry, I did.
Well, then I'm going to the kegerator to get a beer.
Okay. And
what are you gonna do? You not have the kids tonight?
What's on your kegerator?
Oh, I have to put it down there. I have one on my water bottle.
Put that sticker on that kegerator.
No, I haven't been to the garage in days.
Before you have a beer, put that inside out money sticker on your kegerator. And to answer your question, do you have the kids?